Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back again this week for another great podcast. You know, we're in that fourth quarter, and I told you if you've listened to the other ones this quarter, is we're really trying to find guests that will not only help us this quarter, but really propels our business forward for 2025. Because as business owners, we're having to change how we do things because the market is changing. So the goal is, as business owners, we have to change also. So I'm trying to find those guests, and I found another one that's going to help us in the area of marketing today. And Derek, would you share with our listeners, what problem will you help them solve today?
I've got a big claim, Gary. I am going to help the listeners to stop wasting money on marketing and only do what works. And I'm going to share the 5 crisis points in marketing that I've seen from reviewing thousands of brands and what not to do and what to do to have effective marketing.
Now, I love this conversation because I love marketing, and I think it's so critical for small businesses today because a lot of people are confused. What can they do or what should they do in their marketing efforts? So today with us is Derek Champagne. He's a serial entrepreneur with over 18 years of experience developing effective marketing campaigns. He's the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building memorable brands, marketing tools, and campaigns for startups to household brands. Derek is also the author of the best-selling marketing book, Don't Buy a Duck, and the host of the Business Leadership Series podcast. Derek is also a published musician with contributions to soundtracks that have been featured on ABC, MTV, Bravo, E, and Oxygen. Now, we may have to see if we can get him to sing or share one of those soundtracks with us. We'll see if we can get that done today. Derek, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, Gary. I'll give you this promise in my book, which I'm going to make an offer and give away at the end of this. I do tell lots of stories about my music and marketing days in LA. And so it's peppered with examples of guerrilla marketing and stories from that world.
That's excellent. I love it. I love people sharing the other side that they have because we all do have other sides that's available to us. Let's start off there with the book because I think it's a great place to start because I've done a little bit of research on you as I was looking at this. And I think people that have not heard you, I think we need to give them the story behind the book. And, kind of an interesting title, Don't Buy a Duck. So share with us, if I pick up that book, what will I get out of it?
Yeah, happy to do that. And the interesting, unique name I had for that is one of the first reasons Seth Godin even looked at it before he endorsed it was he liked the unique title. The story behind the book. I've been in marketing for most of my life. So as you said, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've got so many stories that, like the listeners, of they're launching a small business. So it hurts me when I waste money on marketing. And I hate it because we feel the pain of it when we make the wrong decisions. It's painful. The first experience I had with that, though, was at 8 years old. And that's what the premise of the book is about, was my experience at 8 years old was the first time it hurt. And my mom always had the same type of car, no matter what car she had the same feature. And that is that it automatically stopped at yard sales. Some of your listeners will relate to this. Like whether we needed to or not, we could be on our way to school or church, and that car would eject us out into a yard sale lawn. And this one particular day, 8 years old, my brother and I, a year older than me, we go to this church estate sale, and we walked around the corner and just the stars aligned. It was an impulse vision I had. And I saw a duck, an actual duck. And it had a little string on its web foot, and it was among all the clothes and all the TVs and all the stuff for sale. And the stars aligned. I was like, that's mine. And so I convinced my brother, that was my first sales and business transaction I ever had at 8. I convinced my brother to give me his $5, and I had $5. And I went to my mom, I said, Mom, I need that duck. And she knew something I didn't, I think, because she said, are you sure you need that? And I'm like, well, does she not understand? Of course I need this. It's a duck. And she's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, I'll worry about all that, right? So with all the sense of an 8-year-old, we got the duck. put it in a cardboard box in the back of our station wagon, which was 1981, paneled green, paneled siding, yard sale chariot, put it in the back, and we sat in the back of the car. And about that time, your listeners will relate to this, and you can too, Gary. I had my first buyer's remorse experience. Kind of that feeling you get after maybe you just bought a jet ski or a boat or a vacation home or whatever you bought that you didn't even think about it, you just grabbed it, and then you're like, the purchase itself was more fun than actually enjoying what you purchased, right? And about that time that I started getting that first sense of that icky feeling in my stomach, the duck flew out of the box and just went crazy in the car. And it felt like an albatross wings flying in there. And so we had to stop the car, let it out of the neighbor's pond. I'd already named it Quackers, because that's what you name a duck. And it ended up living out its days at the neighbor's pond, way away from us. We'd check on it once in a while. And so the premise of the book, Don't Buy a Duck, Stop Wasting Money and Only Do Marketing That Works, is when I started doing consulting several years ago, I watched a lot of business owners like myself who were making impulse purchases and then coming to me and going, why did I do this? I started this campaign. Someone sold me this. I did this. And they didn't even know why they were buying these things. And they didn't have a duck. They had a station wagon filled with ducks that were wreaking havoc on them, and they didn't know what to do with them, right? So I teach, how do you get rid of the ducks if you bought a duck? And then how do you not buy a duck in the future to make sure that you are being more effective and intentional with your marketing?
No, that's a great story and a great analogy of what we do, because I'll be honest, small business owners get confused, and it's confusing today. I mean, earlier, you think about in the 90s, yeah, you had TV, radio, and newspaper, but today you have all these other options of social media, and you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, and you're just pulled in those directions of which way to go. So I think this really is a good point now to really maybe we talk about some of those crisis points in marketing that you talked about earlier, kind of in your opening there, and where brands get stuck, and so they can think through this from their standpoint. What do they need to do in their business?
Gary, I appreciate you setting that up, that there was fewer choices several years ago. In the 50s, there was 5 marketing channels. If anyone's ever seen Mad Men, Don Draper would have this idea for months, and then it would come out in print, and they would celebrate with a drinking binge to California for 3 months because they came up with one idea. I tell our team at our agency that we do more than Don Draper did in a year by 10 a.m. on Monday morning. We just don't have that kind of celebration, right? Because we can't. Now, fast forward today, it's no wonder there's confusion. I actually have a graph when I teach this that shows 5, and then it shows how many there are today. And there are hundreds, I dare say, if not thousands of options now. So if you're listening and you're overwhelmed and you're not sure what to do, that makes sense. That's okay. And so of all the thousands of brands over the last 20 years I've had a chance to review, and some are startups and some are household brands like Domino's Pizza and Princeton University, other bigger names we've had the chance to work with. I wish it wasn't this simple, but it is. Every single time that I see marketing that's off, it fits in one of 5 categories. Every single time. The book is written about the 5 crisis points in marketing. Every time. And they're not going to floor you, but they're very important. And I can't tell you how many brands, you ever watch a commercial, you're like, wow, they missed it. Like they missed the mark. Yeah, they might have. I might have gone in and reviewed one of those and said, wow, you missed the mark. And so I'm going to tell you those quickly. The first one is actually around your brand. And it's who am I? That's the easiest way to remember it. Who am I? Do I know who I am? Now, why does that matter? We need to know what our unique value proposition is. We need to know what makes us stand out in the marketplace. We need to understand what we have that's unique. A lot of times we think we have a good idea and we just take it. Trust me, I've been part of 11 companies, and we just bust out in the marketplace and just assume we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then we're like, wait, and maybe we are, but maybe we missed the mark somewhere. That's because we didn't take the time to do the first thing, the first crisis point. Who am I? Understanding who I am. And there's exercises to do on that, but you want to get clear on your brand positioning, how you stand out. And so let me go to the second one for the sake of time. Second one is tied in. It's who are they? Seeing the theme here? This is not complicated. It actually is not complicated. Again, biggest offenders though, these 5. Who am I and who are they? The who are they is understanding who your customer is. You might call it your avatar. But here's why it matters with who you are. I call it a brand's Bermuda Triangle. And that means brands a lot of times get lost in the who am I, who are they, and who is my competitor, right? So when we do the who are they, we actually try to understand the customer a lot deeper. Like it's not enough just to know something you can do for a Facebook ad. Like you need to understand what's important to them. If I don't understand what's important to my spouse or to my significant other, and I don't know their birthday, and I don't know what kind of food she likes to eat, and I don't know where she likes to vacation, I'm going to miss the mark. That's not going to be a great relationship. If you want to have a relationship with your customers under the who are they part, you've got to go deep into understanding everything that you can about them. As part of that, you also understand what the competition is doing, not so that you can copy them, but so that you see where there's room in the marketplace or a gap in the marketplace or an opportunity in the marketplace. So the who am I? Who are they? And the next one is around marketing tools. And I teased that at the beginning. And many times I see brands do the hard work of understanding. They go through all these brand exercises and they go through these customer avatar studies, and they're like, we've got it. And they got this big document and they're like, great job. And then I go and look at their website and they were like, well, we didn't fix that. I'm like, wait, you went, or they're doing a paid ad campaign and they come to the website and the customer doesn't know where to go next. Every single touch point that you have with your customer, you need to think through the entire customer journey. Think as, I'm going to hold their hand through the process and tell them what's supposed to happen next. Don't make them guess. They will bounce so fast. They are getting hit with hundreds, if not thousands of ads everywhere they're turning. I say now that it's often that my own mother could pick a different company than mine if I didn't respond to something quickly or if I made it confusing. Like, loyalty is at an all-time low, especially when you're bringing somebody new in. You've got to make sure that your tools are all working, right? All your marketing tools. And part of your marketing tools are also understanding, having your staff and your team understand how they can refer you out. Like, they've got to see how these tie together, knowing who you are, knowing who they are, having the tools in the right place, having every single touch point from human to print material to website be an asset that's leading back for them to do business with you. Like, give them no reason to say no, hold their hand through the process. The fourth one is a marketing plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going, right? I can't tell you how many I've seen though, and it's okay. Look, if you don't have some of these, it's okay. But in my book, I say, if you haven't fixed these 5, it's only 100-something pages. I say, please stop what you're doing right now and take a couple hours and get these together first before you spend another penny. Because if you do spend money and you're not happy with the results, or you could be getting better results, it's a dog chasing its tail of what to do. Like, a lot of people are just going, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to improve this. And so making sure you have a plan in place that actually tells you, here's what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, how much we're going to spend, and have that plan written out. How can you follow a plan if you don't have it? The fifth and final one is execution. And it is a big offender too, is how consistent is your execution? Like, how consistently are you executing on that plan? What does that look like? And so execution, I say great ideas and plans fall on the floor, on the cutting room floor, if there's no execution. Everything else you're doing doesn't really matter if you're not consistent, because you can't measure if you're not consistent. You can't get results if you're not consistent, and you don't know what to change, right? And so those are the 5, who am I, who are they, auditing your marketing tools, having a plan, and having consistent execution. Every challenge I've seen in marketing falls around one of those 5 pieces. When those are working together, you have amazing campaigns that get results.
Yeah, and that's the real key. And I love the setup that you're doing, because you're really defining that. And really, it makes the marketing plan on step 4, if you do the first 3 steps, it really sets that up to make the marketing plan a lot easier. And it really becomes a challenge, because the problem is, we're business owners. We are very emotional people, and sometimes we buy because of those emotions. We have to realize that, well, we do the same thing if we're purchasing marketing, and then we get pulled in the wrong direction and we're not following our plan that we have there. And then ultimately execution is the delivering on that plan, and that becomes so important. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Let me ask you a couple questions. Are you a business owner? Are you struggling in your business right now? Are your relationships suffering? Are you ready to make a change? I hear this message all the time from burnt out business owners. Heck, I was one of those people until I discovered a way to elevate my business and life. That is why I started the Ascend Mastermind. Our brotherhood of trusted confidants are here to help make you a true leader in your industry. You will gain clarity in your business to create more profit, enjoy more family time, strengthen your relationships, and crush your business and personal goals. I know how you feel. When I uncovered my problem, I realized success doesn't happen in isolation. You need like-minded individuals to uncover your hidden potential. The Ascend Mastermind offers the support and guidance you need to share your challenges, gain valuable feedback, and unlock fresh insights. As a member, you'll have access to expert coaching, powerful networking, and cutting-edge business strategies. Forge lasting connections with passionate entrepreneurs committed to your success. I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years and have experience in helping businesses thrive. If you are ready to see if this is the right fit for you, let's schedule a 1-hour discovery call. During this call, we will start the process of mapping out your vision for your business and life. Take action now and book your call. Remember, this is the day you will remember when you faced adversity and took action. Click on the link on show notes under Ascend Mastermind to schedule your call.
And now back to the show. Well, I think that's so important to have those 3 crisis points, or those 5 crisis points, in place. And we talked about why it's so important, because that emotional decisions, and it really becomes and allows us to be more strategic. And one of the questions that I was thinking as you were talking about that, Derek, is what are some of them strategic versus emotional decisions in marketing that we really need to think about as business owners?
Oh, if Gary, if I were to tell you, it's the reason chapter 9 of my book is marriage should be an emotional decision. Planning your marketing should not. Is again, because I work with small business owners and I am a small business owner. So I see how much emotion plays in. I've been part of it. I've seen campaigns roll out that shouldn't have based on emotion. I've seen products launched on emotion that shouldn't have launched yet. And I've seen campaigns cut and stopped because of emotion. And so strategy, when you have the 5 crisis points figured out and you have a plan and execution all planned out, then that's great. You're operating, what I say, at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you're enlightenment in strategy and planning. When you work off emotionally, you're at the very bottom of the pyramid, which served us well as cavemen, as cave people, for survival. But that's not what we're doing here. This is not just hunger and thirst needs. This is growth and strategy needs. So it's important that once you make a plan, you move your mindset to the top of the pyramid. Now, it doesn't mean you're not measuring. And I have a section in my book where we coined PETMAG. And we say, if you've done the 5 steps correctly, and you have a PETMAG mindset, then you're okay and you're strategic instead of emotional. And PETMAG is PETMAG. And that's plan, execute, track, measure, adjust, grow. I didn't say that there's no adjustments. Adjustments are in there. And so when you have a mindset of understanding this campaign is going to have adjustments, like we're going to launch this in the marketplace and we're going to measure this for the next 8 weeks or whatever the timeline recommended is. And we're going to watch for improvements and we're going to cut things out that don't work at the strategic timeline we set. You're okay. Take a deep breath. Don't panic. Now, because you've done the work to put it in the right place. And so if you've got to adjust some of your budget in the buckets, you can do that. In my book, I actually share how much you should spend. I have a chapter that says how to make a budget. And it tells you all of the steps to take. And if you're in a certain growth mode or a certain size company, it gives you a formula for when you should spend and how, based on market growth opportunities and a growing or stagnant market. So there you go. When you've got those tools with a track record and case studies for success, you can focus on being strategic and take the emotion out. Emotion doesn't play a good role. Emotion only belongs in marketing when you're working with the customer and you're making an emotional connection that matters to them. That's it. It's the only place it belongs in marketing.
Yeah, so important to really think about as business owners, because I know too many of them, they allow the emotion to drive it, but it doesn't take long at all. They're really frustrated with what they got when they go in that emotional side of it. And then trying to back up out of that becomes so hard. Derek, some great information you're sharing and really kind of helping our business owners, because as you heard me say in the beginning, I really want this 4th quarter to lay the foundation to set it up. And I know you're willing to give them a free copy of the book, so you don't even have to go out and buy that. Why don't we talk about that a little bit there? And you've talked about a lot what they're already going to get in the book and stuff, but it kind of gives them the formula that you've said of those 5 crisis points, but also with the budget and everything else. So they can really set themselves up to be out the gate January 1, implementing their plan.
Yeah, Gary, absolutely. And so, I've got an add-on to that, which is this. And so at assessmymarketing.com, assessmymarketing.com, if you go there, there's just a short form and you fill out that form and 2 things can happen. One is you fill out that form, you get a free book. Number 2 is if you like, here we are coming out of 4th quarter. What do we want to have January 1, hitting the ground running? An effective marketing plan. When you fill that out, our team is willing for this to do a free marketing assessment. It only takes, you just fill out that form. Our team will jump on a call with you and spend 20 minutes and just say, here is what we recommend you adjust. Remember, from seasoned experts, I've reviewed thousands of brands, no obligation. We're just going to go, hey, here's what we recommend that you adjust or look at. We'll show you your website score. We'll show you where you might have opportunities on LinkedIn. If you're B2B or B2C, we'll provide that for you and give you a copy of the book. So you can go, great, I've got my roadmap and I've got exact recommendations nailed down to the top 5 to 7 things that I should be doing going into next year. We'd love to give you that shortcut. Assessmymarketing.com. It's a 2-for-1. If you don't want the assessment, just go send me the book. Otherwise, I will personally be happy to look at your marketing and give you recommendations that I'll hand over to you.
Well, that's a great offer. I appreciate you doing that for our listeners, because small
bet.
business owners, that becomes the challenge is how do I implement? Now you've got not only you're going to get some expert advice on how to do that. So I hope you people take this up on it. Derek's willing to do that and his company is. If you decide to work with them, of course, they want you to be able to do that. But just think of the difference that you can make right there to really impact your business right out the gate and change that part of your business. Because I guarantee you, I know for most business owners, this is a major struggle that they have in their business. And that's what we want to do is really take that struggle out so you have a roadmap to really start implementing as you start out the new year to get going in your marketing. Because marketing drives sales. Let's be honest. If marketing is not driving your sales, then of course you have a problem that you'll probably find out in your assessment when you do the assessment, right?
Right. That's correct. And find out opportunities for improvement. Sometimes it's really small things, right? And if it's a small adjustment and you just have to make that small tweak on your website or whatever it might be, why wouldn't you fix that? It's also going to help your team if you have a sales team or salesperson. Sales and marketing really aren't separate anymore. We call it smarketing now. They've got to work hand in hand together.
Yeah, that becomes so crucial. Well, Derek, I appreciate you sharing your expertise and willing to come on and giving us that great offer. So please check that out. We'll have that all in show notes. So we know our entrepreneurs are not where they can write it down now. It's all in the show notes. You'll be able to click the link right there that's available. If you want to check out their website, it's theartistrevolution.com. So some great information. I looked at their website earlier and there's some great information on there that you can check out all their information that's available to you. Derek, again, before I let you go, I want to ask you one more question because I ask every guest this same question. We've talked a lot about marketing, but it doesn't have to be marketing. What would be your best advice you would give the business owners?
Gary, I'm going to tell you that as someone that's been a part of 11 companies, and some I've had exits from, and some I have learned valuable lessons that put scars on me, is the biggest lesson I could get. If I could go back and tell myself, it would be to bring really good people around me that have been there and done it and ask them. And because I in the old days had too much pride and thought you had to hold your cards close. And so when I failed in business, it was because I wasn't willing to share with others the challenges I was having. So if you can find somebody in your industry specific who's gone ahead of you and done what you're trying to do, I recommend approaching them the right way, finding the right group, and having them shortcut. I have now seen shortcutting a decade of learning off of growing my businesses now that I'm going around the right people, rather than taking the risk and flipping the coin that you're going to figure it out yourself over 5 to 10 years. You will, but how would you like to do it? Would you like to do it more quickly? If so, find somebody that's ahead of you and make sure that you reach out to them and have a mentor or a coach in the space that can help you.
Yeah, that's great advice, Derek, because I tell you, today we can move a lot quicker. Why does sports teams have so many coaches? They have specific position coaches. There's a
Yep.
reason for that. But for some reason in the small business world, we think, oh, we need to go it alone. You don't have to be alone at all. So find out what it is for you. And I think that becomes the real key as you're going into this next year. Now, I always give an action item as we look at the podcast. And as I listen to the host, I'm trying to think, what can we really think about that really is going to impact you? I'm going to tell you the one I'm going to tell you is assessmymarketing.com. I think you need to go there and take that assessment and really dig into that, because not only you'll get the book, but then you're going to get someone to really look at your marketing and have a plan. And even if you don't go forward, you're going to learn some things about your business, seeing it from a third-party perspective. And I'm telling you, when you are so close to your business, I have this same problem. I miss the things that are so close to me because why? I see it every day. Somebody else is going to see a different view than you do. It's like taking your glasses and putting a new pair of glasses on. You're like, oh, wow, I can see now. So that becomes the key. So I hope you take Derek up on his offer there. We'll have all that in show notes available to you. So Derek, I appreciate you joining us on the podcast, and thanks for all your great information.
Gary, thank you for sharing your platform today. I love what you're doing.
Well, I'm telling you, everyone, fourth quarter is about getting prepared so we can launch and really take off in the first quarter of 2025. Your business is not going to just happen. You have to show up, and then you have to make those plans to implement them. And we're giving you that in this fourth quarter to do. So thanks again for joining us. If you know someone that needs to hear this podcast, please like and share it and let others know about it. And we'll see you back here next week with another great guest. Make it a great day.
That's all the time we have for this week. To continue your journey, head over to smallbusinessanswerman.biz to access the tools and resources mentioned in today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with someone who would benefit from listening. That's smallbusinessanswerman.biz. Until next time, remember, when you find the right solutions, your business grows and you get your time back.